Alrighty, so closing the chapter of our time in Oregon. Alright, closing the door. You guys ready to move? I know y'all can't see me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm ready to move. Yeah, I'm ready to move.
Okay. Alrighty, y'all. So this is our first stop of the day. Probably about an hour from Pendleton. Been a pretty eventful morning. We hit a deer when we weren't even on the freeway yet. We were basically trying to get on the freeway to leave Portland, and it was still kind of dark and out of nowhere. My wife was like, "Ah, deer!" And before I can even notice it, the car hit it and kind of tore our license plate off the front a little bit. But we was able to somewhat tie that back on, and I didn't even see the deer anymore. I don't know if he ran off or whatever, but yeah.
Ready, you're all...
Alrighty, also back in Salt Lake City, where you guys seen me come on the first go around when I was coming to closing. Stand at the same exact hotel. This time around, didn't try any shenanigans in the parking lot. Came right to the back, parked with no problem. But most of my inventory that didn't fit the first time around in the truck is in here. And outside, a few minor hiccups, such as hitting a deer this morning. It sort of tore our bumper up right here, but it is what it is. I mean, family's safe. We made it to the first leg in one piece, so we're not too worried about it. This actually happened before we even got on the freeway in Portland, Oregon, which is weird that a deer was running loose just in the middle of one of the main roads. So, I don't know, but everybody's safe, and so we're signing off. First leg, day one, Salt Lake City. Alrighty, y'all, so started day two, a pretty smooth night for the most part. Just stopped at the same gas station that I stopped at last week when I was pulling my car with the truck last week. And it's probably about an hour or so before the sun comes up, and so we're off and running, Lincoln, Nebraska. Alrighty, so we're about halfway through the entire trip. I think we got maybe half a day left, and then we got the shortest leg of the trip to Nashville, or to Portland rather, tomorrow. And so far, everything's been going pretty good. We've had, you know, not a whole lot of hiccups. Everything's been kind of humming along. Kids haven't really been too antsy. They've been just kind of being troopers. And so I think right now we're in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, and we should be in Lincoln probably in 5 or 6 hours. Alrighty, y'all, so we just made it to Lincoln. Day two wrapping up for the most part. Not a whole lot of problems. The chains were somewhat dragging on the freeway, so I had to get those zip tied up. But outside of that, nothing really crazy, and been a long, exhausting day. But finally made it to the finish line. Got one full day left tomorrow, and then it'll be home sweet home from there. Alrighty, y'all, so we're currently in Kansas City, probably about 8 hours from home. And for the most part, haven't had any major issues. And on this last day, it's the shortest day on the route. We're all just ready to get home, get to Tennessee, get set up, get our new life started. And that should be here before we know it. It's a really nice day. It's kind of crispy and cold, but for the most part, sun's out. Home sweet home. Alrighty, y'all, so home sweet home, and this is my family's first time seeing the property because I was doing all of the traveling back and forth, checking out everything just on my own. So my wife was looking at the pictures, but this is her first time actually getting the opportunity to see it. The kids are excited. They were running through the backyard. It's actually really dark back there right now, but I think overall it's going to be a real nice fit for us. And so what's on the agenda now, we're going to eat dinner, get a much needed night's rest, and then tomorrow we're just going to start piece by piece, starting to get stuff unpacked, put in the right place. And for me personally, I'll be unloading the trailer, and most of, probably like 90% of the stuff that's on there is stuff from business. And so I'll spend the day getting that unloaded because I want to have my business set up by the weekend so I can be off and running with that right there. And so yeah, it was a long 3 days on the road, and I'm glad we're here, and it seems like it's all going to be a really good fit. They're all checking out the yard way back there for the first time. Alright, y'all, so I'm just about wrapping up, getting everything unloaded. Didn't really take nowhere near as long as it took me to get everything bagged up and organized. And so got some bags on the ground right there, a few more boxes to take out, but not a whole lot. And I chose to pack up everything in just black garbage bags, just for the simple fact that I don't think it would have fit otherwise. And that worked out for the most part. And so once I get this unloaded, I'm going to drop the trailer off, and then I'll probably spend the rest of probably today and maybe a little bit of tomorrow getting everything back in the respective places so I can get the order shipped that came in. I only sold, I think, somewhere between 60 to 70 items while I was on vacation mode. So my sales are way down from when I left Portland, Oregon, but that's to be expected. If you put your store on vacation mode, people will still buy, but for the most part, they're not going to be willing to wait 2 weeks to get some Nike leggings or a Nike shirt or something. So that's kind of where we are. Just did want to share like this part of the journey just to kind of show you guys the move from Oregon to Tennessee. And for the most part, we didn't run into any really major difficulties. There were a few obstacles that came up here and there, but for the most part, things were pretty seamless. And so I appreciate you guys for coming along with me. Hope you got some value out of us showing you this side of it. Maybe you're thinking about moving, and this is probably how maybe you can take a tip or two of how we did it and maybe implement it if you're thinking about doing the same thing. So I'll catch you guys right back here on the next video.
This might be all that I know. Think it's okay. I've got a long way to grow. At my own pace. Go the long way. No one taught me how to walk, but I figured it out fine.